Hey guys, welcome back to the Autismmom Chronicles. Today's vlog is about this little baby who is our Black History Spotlight for today. And if you want to know who she is, well, join me on the other side of the intro and I'll tell you who she is. See you in a minute. Shirley Chisholm was born Shirley Anita St. Hill on November 30th, 1924, in Brooklyn, New York, to immigrant parents. She was of Guyanese and Bajan descent. She had three younger sisters. Her father, Charles Christopher St. Hill, was born in British Guyana before moving to Barbados. He arrived in New York City via Antigua, Cuba in 1923. Her mother, Ruby Seals, was born in Christchurch, Barbados, and arrived in New York City in 1921. Charles St. Hill was a laborer who worked in a factory that made burlap bags and as a baker's helper. Ruby St. Hill was a skilled seamstress and domestic worker who experienced the difficulty of balancing working with raising children at the same time. As a consequence, in November 1929, when Shirley turned 5, she and her two sisters were sent to Barbados to live with her maternal grandmother, Emmeline Seal. Shirley spent a critical portion of her childhood in Barbados, where her family was from, and would always consider herself a Barbadian American. Shirley returned to the United States in 1934, arriving in New York City on May 19th. As a result of her time in Barbados, Shirley spoke with a West Indian accent throughout her life. In her 1970 autobiography, Unbought and Unbossed, she wrote, "Years later, I would know what an important gift my parents had given me by seeing to it that I had an early education in the strict traditional British-style schools of Barbados. If I speak and write easily now, that early education is the main reason." Shirley earned her Bachelor's of Arts from Brooklyn College in 1946, majoring in sociology and minoring in Spanish, a language that she would employ at times during her political career. She won prizes for her debating skills and graduated cum laude. During her time at Brooklyn College, she was initiated into Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated and the Harriet Tubman Society. As a member of the Harriet Tubman Society, she advocated for inclusion, specifically in terms of integration of Black soldiers in the military during World War II. Shirley met Conrad O. Chisholm in the late 1940s. He had migrated to the United States from Jamaica in 1946, and he later became a private investigator who specialized in the negligence-based lawsuits. They married in 1949 in a large West Indian-style wedding. She subsequently suffered 2 miscarriages, and to their disappointment, The couple would have no children. Chisholm began working as a teaching aide at the Mount Calvary Child Care Center in Harlem after graduating from college. She would work in the center in a teaching role from 1946 to 1953. Meanwhile, she was furthering her education, attending classes at night, and earning her Master's of Art in Childhood Education from Teachers College of Columbia University in 1951. Chisholm entered the world of politics in 1953 when she joined Wesley Mack Holder's effort to elect Louis Flagg Jr. to the bench as the first black judge in Brooklyn. In 1964, after Thomas R. Jones decided to accept a judicial appointment rather than run for re-election for his seat as Brooklyn's assemblyman, Chisholm sought to run for his seat in the New York State Assembly. Chisholm won the Democratic primary in June 1964. She then won the seat in December with over 18,000 votes over Republican and Liberal Party candidates, neither of whom received more than 1,900 votes. Chisholm was a member of the New York State Assembly from 1965 to 1968. In 1968, Shirley Chisholm ran for the United States House of Representatives from New York's 12th Congressional District. When she won this seat, she became the first black woman elected to Congress and was the only woman in the freshman class of that year. Chisholm joined the Congressional Black Caucus in 1971 as one of its founding members. In the same year, she was also a founding member of the National Women's Political Caucus. Chisholm began exploring her candidacy in July of 1971 and formally announced her presidential bid on January 25, 1972, in a Baptist church in her district in Brooklyn, New York. There she called for a bloodless revolution on the forthcoming Democratic nomination convention. Chisholm became the first African American to run for a major party's nomination for the President of the United States in the 1972 U.S. presidential election, making her also the first woman ever to run for the Democratic Party's presidential nomination. Overall, she won 28 delegates during the primary process. Chisholm's base of support was ethnically diverse and included the National Organization for Women. Altogether, during the primary season, she received 430,703 votes, which was about 2.7% of the total nearly 16 million cast, and represented 7th place in the Democratic contenders. In June of that year, Chisholm became the first woman to appear in a United States presidential debate. Shirley Chisholm retired from Congress in January of 1983 and made her home in a suburb of Buffalo, New York until 1991, where she relocated to the state of Florida. During those years, she continued to give speeches at colleges, by her own account, over 150 campuses. Shirley Chisholm died on January 1st, 2005 at her home in Almond Bank, Florida. I hope that you guys like this edition of Black History Spotlight. I'll see you guys next time. Please follow me on all my other social media. And until the next time, I offer you peace and blessings from the West Side. Bye, you guys.